MMA Boxing Talk here, coming at you with another video. This is a prediction video for the very anticipated UFC fight between light heavyweight champion, Daniel Cormier, who is taking on former lightweight champion Jon Bones Jones. The fight is taking place April 23rd at UFC 197. Now, for those of you who didn't know that Jon Jones and DC had fought in the past, they fought last January. I think it was January 3rd, 2015. It was the first pay-per-view fight of the year. A lot of people before this fight was picking Daniel Cormier to win. Specifically because of his wrestling. Jon Jones had never faced an Olympic wrestler. A wrestler so elite that people just figured that would give Jon Jones a tremendous amount of trouble. I can't remember what the experts were saying back then. What they were predicting, but I know a lot of people were picking DC to win. I think a lot of that had to do with them disliking Jon Jones for whatever reason. I've always been a Jon Jones fan. I knew that he was going to dismantle DC, or at least beat him, decisively enough to get the decision or what have you. But I'll never forget that fight. Before I get into that fight, there was a lot of build-up for their first fight. I mean, they had the scuffle at the. It was more than a scuffle. It was a fight. I mean, there was a lot of people in between, but I mean, they were throwing punches and what have you. But that happened in September of 2014. They were supposed to fight. They were supposed to fight September of 2014, and they had that crazy, brawl on the stage at their face-off, whatever, stare down, and I can't remember who it was, but someone got injured, so the fight ended up getting pushed back to January 2015. So anyway, they end up fighting. Jon Jones, he broke Daniel Cormier. He beat him at his own game, which Jon Jones is notorious at doing, beating opponents at their own game. Beating opponents in the category, let's just say, that they best excel at, So if it's a striker, Jon Jones, he's going to beat you on the feet, outstriking you. If, you're a wrestler, a guy that grinds you, the guy that, wants to wear you down and, hold you down or hold you up against the cage and wear you down, Jon Jones is going to do exactly that to that opponent. And that's exactly what he did to Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier was, he was the king of the grind. That was his whole slogan, and break bones. Jon Bones Jones, more specifically. But he was the king of the grind. And Jon Jones proved that night that he was the king of the grind because he grinded Daniel Cormier out. Now, I know, Jon Jones haters, they don't want to hear that. And, I understand, whatever. But this fight, the rematch, I'm definitely going with Jon Jones again. I mean, there's a lot has transpired in the last year since they fought. I'll just quickly go into it. I mean, Jon Jones, I don't know how much after the Cormier-Jones fight, but Jon Jones, that came out that the drug test, they tested him a month before the fight, and he had cocaine metabolites in his system a month before the Cormier fight. So Jon Jones, about to face a guy that a lot of people think he's going to beat Jon Jones. A lot of people thought DC was going to out-wrestle Jon Jones, grind him out, wear him down, what have you. And this guy, instead of, focusing on training and, focusing on the fight, This guy's out in Brazil doing cocaine. So you tell me how serious he took that training camp and how serious he took Daniel Cormier. Even though a lot of people were picking Cormier to win, this guy was still doing cocaine in Brazil a month before their fight. Think about that. Like, I mean, it's remarkable when you think of it, because he still wore him down. He still kicked the shit out of Daniel Cormier. I mean, he didn't stop him or nothing, but he wore him down, and Jones beat him at his own game, like I said. But like I said, a lot has transpired in this past year. So Jones, had cocaine in his system, but he got off that, no problem. Still had his belt. Then it was April, I believe, of last year. Jon Jones gets into an accident with a pregnant lady. She breaks her arm, and Jon Jones had fled the scene. So he got stripped of his title. He was supposed to go to jail. Ended up, getting off community service. Speaking to students. He's done like 66 community services where he's went to elementary schools or high schools or what have you, and he's talked about drugs and just staying sober or whatever. But now Jon Jones is on the short and narrow path. Now Jon Jones is taking his training camps way more seriously. I mean, all you have to do is go back and find a picture of Jon Jones in the off season of 2013 or something like that, and compare it to the off season of 2015. I mean, the difference in muscle mass, the difference in definition is insane. This guy turned himself into an absolute weapon. This guy was in the gym training his ass off like never before. Like never before. And he's at an interview with Ariel Helwani. Go check it out. MMA Fighting SBN YouTube channel. There's like a 40-minute or an hour interview with Ariel Helwani walking in Albuquerque on some remote road somewhere, out in nature, and he's having a one-on-one conversation with Jon Jones, and he tells you, this guy was drinking 3-4 nights a week. He was a marijuana addict, smoking pot all the time, and this guy was still kicking everyone's ass. Like I said, he did coke a month before Daniel Cormier fight. So obviously he wasn't taking it seriously. I mean, of course not. Of course not. So, now we got a Jon Jones on the straight and narrow path. We got a Jon Jones that's focused, determined. He wants to move up to heavyweight. I mean, this has been in his plan for, a few years now, I want to say. But I want to stay unbiased. Daniel Cormier is a different fighter a year ago than he was a year ago. Daniel Cormier is now the champ. Daniel Cormier, since losing to Jon Jones, has went on to submit Anthony Rumble Johnson, arguably the most dangerous man in that division. He is the most dangerous man. Explosiveness, knockout power-wise, So Daniel Cormier submitted Rumble Johnson. And then he went on to beat Alexander Gustafsson, which was Jon Jones' toughest fight to date. And DC beat him. Now DC has the belt. Now DC isn't as emotionally invested as he was in the first fight. The first fight, Daniel Cormier was very, very invested emotionally. He truly hated Jon Jones' personality and all these things. And then they had the scuffle, at the face-off or at the stare-down, whatever. So there was a lot of history. Now, DC's the champ. There's going to be less pressure. He won't be as mentally invested, but he's dealing with a Jon Jones who is now taking things seriously, which is like hard to believe because he's, the youngest UFC champion of all time at 23 years old. He wiped out a division that was a murderer's row division. Okay? Look at all the ex-champions he beat. And sure, they weren't quite, they weren't maybe at their best, but I mean, he still has a phenomenal resume. he still dismantled them at their own game. He still, made them look subpar. So, and not taking this 100% seriously. Like he said, before the Gustafsson fight, he was drinking, 3-4 times a week, smoking pot all the time. The Cormier fight, he did coke a month before the fight. This guy wasn't taking it seriously, but now he is. So, as much as Cormier is in a better position in the rematch than he was in the first fight, Jon Jones is also in a better position because he's on the straight and narrow path. He's taking it seriously. He's dedicated himself fully to his craft. And now, to think, a guy like Jon Jones, who's accomplished so much at such a young age, is now taking it, finally at this point, at 28 years old, is finally taking it seriously? I mean, that's a scary thing. That is a scary thing. Because this guy was a scary man not taking it seriously, not giving it 100%. So what's he going to be like when he is? And he has that motivation to move up to heavyweight. I mean, we saw what happened in the first fight. I mean, DC's skills haven't changed. He's mentally, more confident. He's mentally in a better spot. But nothing physically has changed. So, I got Jon Jones winning this fight hands down. I don't know if it'll be a knockout. I don't know, if it'll be a submission or, even a decision. But I know for sure he's going to beat Daniel Cormier. And I do believe it'll be worse than the first time. Now, that's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with my opinion, of course. But it's what I truly believe. And I know that Jon Jones is just too much to handle for Daniel Cormier. And like I said in this video, now he's on the straight and narrow path. Now he's actually taking it seriously. I mean, we don't even know what we're going to witness with Jon Jones. To think that we're going to see the best Jon Jones we've ever seen is kind of hard to believe, considering his resume, his past, his career. But it's a crazy fight. It's a huge, huge fight for the UFC. I can't wait. April 23rd, you can't miss it. Jon Bones Jones, #1 pound-for-pound fighter today. And he's not holding a strap. But he never lost the strap. Okay? It was taken away from him because of his actions outside the octagon, which he is totally responsible for. I'm not, dismissing anything he did. He's done some bad things, but he's only human. We all make mistakes. We all deserve a second chance. And this is his second chance, and it's going to be an awesome fight. The first one was phenomenal. The second one, I think, is going to be even better. But I definitely got Jon Jones winning this. Now, if you disagree, feel free. I want to hear your opinion. I want to hear how you think Daniel Cormier can beat Jon Jones. But yeah, it's going to be a great one. This video is a little longer than I planned, but it's a big deal. It's a big fight. You can't miss it. April 23rd, you're going to see the best UFC fighter in the world challenging for his belt that he once, held. So, it's a huge thing. Got to check it out. If you like the video, subscribe. That's it for this one. MMA Boxing Talk. Peace.